So what you see behind me is the blackest black paint that we painted on one of our studio walls so that we could shoot products or people or anything else that we need on that wall without having to worry about lighting it just correctly, so we can just focus on the shot. And today I'm going to show you how we set that up and everything that went into it. Hey guys, Mike here from Envy Creative. So today, as you can see, I'm in my painting clothes, and that's because a couple days ago I just finished priming this wall back here because we're gonna paint it black for some upcoming videos and just to have as a set in the studio. But we're not just gonna paint it a normal black. We're gonna paint it with a black that absorbs 99% of light. So that means we don't really have to worry about lighting the backdrop, and we can just worry about lighting the subject. Now this is the kind of paint we're gonna use. It's called Musso Black. And basically, this is a certain kind of paint that you get from Japan. There is a wait list for it. This is something that you would paint on your wall or paint an object so that it absorbs all the light it can, so that you really don't have to worry about lighting that object or that wall. Now you might be thinking why you would do something like this to a wall for filming. Well, most people, when they have a backdrop that they want to be black or dark, they either use a black paper backdrop or a white or gray paper backdrop, and they light that white or gray paper backdrop specifically so that it's dark in the background and so their subject is the only one being lit. You can also use green screen or blue screen and just key out the background completely and put a plain black background in the background. But in that case, you do have to worry about the outline of your subject and making sure that they're lit correctly and that the keying is correct. Another reason we're doing this as a backdrop is because since we pretty much only do commercial videos, we already have a white backdrop, but we also wanted a black backdrop so that we could give that dramatic spotlight effect with a black backdrop and the product on a pedestal right in the center so that all eyes are drawn towards the product. We also wanted to use it for other product shots as well, and as you've seen from our previous videos, we like everything to be preset and everything set up so that we can film things as quickly as possible and with the best quality possible. Now you may not have heard of Musso Black, but you may have heard of Vanta Black, which is more of a commercial solution for this kind of paint. So if you Google Vanta Black, then you'll probably find a lot of other videos on how it works and the science behind it. They come in these little bottles for pretty inexpensive, but if you want enough to paint, say, a whole wall, then you're probably going to need to buy a whole box like we did to be able to cover a full surface like a big wall. So as you can see, the paint lays on pretty thick, and we don't really need to do multiple coats because we don't have that much paint to be able to do multiple coats. But per the directions, it says that you should only need one coat as long as you're applying it pretty thick and as long as you're covering all the areas that you need to. Okay, so it's been 48 hours since I finished painting the black wall, and normally after a few hours you can see the paint color with normal paints, but this actually did take about 48 hours to dry completely so that you could really get the dark black that it's advertised as. I will admit, because I'm used to paints showing their color within about an hour, I was kind of disappointed when I first put on the coat because I felt that maybe I did something wrong, or maybe the paint wasn't as black as it was advertised to be. But again, after 48 hours, it really does show how black and how dark this paint can be. We've kind of joked here at the studio that now that we have this black wall, we're going to be calling it the void wall, because if you're just standing here looking into it, it really does catch about 99% of the light, so you really can't see any reflections, and it just looks like a portal into nowhere. A couple things to note with the paint as I was painting: you definitely want to wear a mask and eye protection because the fumes coming off the paint are very strong, and you definitely want to wear gloves because it says not to get it on your skin. I actually got a little bit on my finger and I had to wash it off pretty quickly because it did start to sting a little bit, but then after that it was fine. Just be careful if you're painting with it. So here's a few more test shots that we did now that we have the black wall set up and we have our light set up right above there as a spotlight so that we can really use it and see how it works on camera. We're really happy with how the wall turned out, and we're really happy to be able to start utilizing it for our projects, for our clients, to be able to offer even more versatility in the kind of backgrounds and the kind of shots that we can get for products. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have any questions about the paint or the process, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and we'll catch you on the next one.